back to work. Go on.
Hey everybody, Gears here on whatever day this is at this point of this project. This is the aftermath. I tried setting the tubes on their lengths, but the ends are too flimsy to support it, so they have to be laying down wherever they go. All the styrene mess. Oh yeah. Looks like some Enterprise crew died here or something. And over here, the paint booth. Having the caps in the booth got them all dusted up with other colors, so I had to respray them specifically with what colors they were. And then I'll be marking them with the pen so that I can just look down and see what they are real quick. Next up, I'm either going to JB weld the back sides of these, and I have heard this one crack when I put it down. So all these edges, all the way under this lip here, all of that has got to get set up with the JB weld. Right now, the super glue is holding these remarkably well. Then on the front, on each of them, they've got a little bit of work that can be done. So here you'll notice the crack running down the edge there. So a crack like that in there. Should be one right there. Got a third up here. There it is. And a little bit up there at the edge. All that's going to be filled in with JB weld. I'll use a wet towel to help shape it and feather it into place so it won't be too visible. And then I'll probably just take a silver Sharpie and run it over the coverage. I already peeled some of these off. They're still a little very gooey in the very centers of the thicker pieces. But this is all going to sand off really nicely. I almost wish I didn't have to do it, but it's just too much dirt going on for what's going on. This is a torpedo tube. It should be relatively clean. The outside can be dirty, but the tube itself, that needs muzzle cleaning every time after it's fired is my bet. Just to keep all the dirt and debris down. You don't want a backfire on that baby. However, as to looking like a rusted piece of steel, this is not too unconvincing. Weathering is probably a little severe for the car relative to the weathering that's going on that. But as each panel is essentially different, I'm not too worried about that. And I can always salt this and do yet another coat of a different color if I wanted to. So yeah, they're both looking nice. I'm debating whether to do the JB weld first or the sanding. If it's JB weld, then I can't work on these all day. If it's the sanding, then I could risk cracking those edges a little further. However, I probably have to do a second glue down anyway before the JB weld, just to make sure that everything's as tight as it can be. And yeah, so maybe I'll try, yeah. So what I'll do is start with just a little bit of sanding and then get to the JB welding. As to the aftermath, a lot of it needs to be cleaned up, and I should probably do that sooner than later. Tools everywhere, mess everywhere. Quite the experience. So overall, this torpedo tube project turned out to be really great for a paint booth test. The spray can, I don't know how much of it I got onto footage, but these cans were just blasting everywhere. I usually had the window down around here, I think it was, and just watching all the paint fumes and spray billowing in here rather than coming into my room, this thing is definitely worth it. It does get dirty, and I do expect that what I'll have to do is take a razor blade to the other side. If it turns out that that scratches up the plexiglass, then I am in a bit of trouble. There may be a way to wash some of the more extreme dirt off, but like that yellow splat right there would have been all over this fan or blown into me if it weren't for the guard. Proof positive. I'm very glad that I set the tower up top. It allows for much better airflow in this case. I haven't even looked at the ceiling yet. I don't see, well, there's a little bit of damage up there by the vent. I can definitely see that. that bit of spray all over this LED tape. I can't quite get in there as is. I don't even know if you could hear me while the camera was in there, actually. I'll have to see on video. But yeah, this has been a really great use of the paint booth, and next up, you may be looking around going, what is all this debris everywhere? This is crazy. This is supposed to be a clean paint booth. Well, well, part of the trick is this guy right there. Having just sanded and vacuumed this entire thing, it's time for a look for the underneath. Wow. Now granted, a lot of this is from the sanding that I just did, but there's a lot of it from the paint as well. Look how clean. I'm glad this is in place. And I also deliberately left a few things under here. I've already moved them around. I wanted to see the effects of leaving things. All the painting was done over in this corner, so I wanted to see how much debris would actually transfer over to this one, and clearly it's not quite as bad in this corner as it is over in that one. However, there's just as much of a spread going on. What I'm probably going to be doing is walling off this section so I always have a clean area, and I'll put a backing on this so that there's no more holes in it. Part of the idea of having the holes is when I am doing sanding in here, because this is not going to be a paint booth only, by having holes in here, that allows a lot of debris to fall down here, and then I would plug the vacuum cleaner into the bottom of this while I'm working, and then active dirt could be flying into there the whole time, theoretically. I also left my airbrush under here but sealed, so I wanted to see how much action would happen to that. Let's get these guys out of here. A bit of a time for vacuuming on this.